Welcome to another episode of Frame by Frame, Voices of Cinema. I'm your host, Gerald Pegdato, and today we're joined by a guest who embodies a range of talents across the film and performance industry. Today's guest is Ricky Ray Hallow, a multi-talented comedian, instructor, director, producer, and writer based here in Edmonton. With a background in acting from the University of Alberta and a thriving career that includes everything from voice acting and teaching, Nikki has become a significant creative force in this community. She co-stars in an Amazon Prime series, leads a popular film acting course, and continues to inspire others through her work in comedy and performance. In this episode, we'll talk to Nikki about her journey into the industry, her approach to acting and teaching, and how she's fostering support within the creative community. Nikki, thank you so much for coming in today and sitting down with us on Frame by Frame.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm so excited to actually sit down with you and really dig down into who really Nikki is.
Okay.
So
the question.
Yeah. So let's get started. Can you tell me just your journey on how you got started into, and I know you're, multifaceted writer, producer, writer, voiceover. There's a bunch of different things here. Yeah. But let's just get into, because you graduated from the U of A BFA program.
I did, yeah.
Right? So let's get into what got you into the world of acting, kind of your background and upbringing first. And,
For sure.
And who is Nikki?
Who is Nikki? That's the question I ask myself every day. So I grew up in a small town in northern Alberta called Athabasca. I was born in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, but my parents and my family moved to Athabasca because my dad's a master tradesman. So I worked in the trades, and obviously there's going to be more work in Alberta in terms of the oil field and the trades and that kind of stuff. So I have 3 older brothers and my mom and dad, and we grew up, on a farm. My mom was very animated. She did lots of accents. She did lots of voices. She was a puppeteer and she did clown and improv. So my mom was a very dynamic performer. And she did like a lot of event hosting. So she was always very animated at home. And my dad was this like very rigid tradesperson farmer. Like, we get outside, you have 2 arms and legs, get outside and work. So we had this very strange dichotomy in the house, but it was fun. So I always enjoyed kind of playing and being silly. My oldest brother, Gary's very stoic, but very, very funny. My middle 2 brothers are insane in the best way, just like very silly, very goofy. We are always acting and playing. And then obviously me being the only girl was like, I want to play along. So that was kind of my childhood. And then in Athabasca, I was very lucky to have an incredible high school drama teacher. His name was Bruce McDonald. He's still a very close friend of mine. And his wonderful wife, Karen. Hi, mom and dad. I call everyone mom and dad because I'm from a small town. So he was fantastic, and he really just helped nurture the creative force that I had of all these different characters that I wanted to do and be. And he really encouraged me in the funnest way. So that was very nice. And then I was in a high school 1X festival that I did every year with Athabasca and Edmonton. We come into Edmonton and be in the 1X festival. And every year our school would bring anywhere from 10 to 14 plays.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
When I was in grade 11, I think we brought 10 or 11 of them. And I was in all of them except for 1.
Yeah.
And I played all these different characters, and I had large roles in all of them. And at the time, Michael Kennard, who is a professor at the University of Alberta, he is also one of the very famous Canadian clown duo, Mump and Smoot. He is Mump.
Okay.
And he's a clown professor. He's also a very close mentor of mine that I work with and actually teach with now. He teaches on my course. And I just love working with him. He's amazing. He saw me in the 1X festival, and he was adjudicating, and he was like, what do you want to do with your life, man?
And this is in high school?
Yeah, I was in grade 11 and he was a professor that had come in to adjudicate this high school drama festival because sometimes they would get paid, to come and do that. Yeah. Artist life. You take whatever contract you get, right?
Yeah.
For the most part. And he was like, what do you want to do with your life? I've seen you in all of these different plays. You're playing completely different characters. And I said, I would like to do this. And he was like, great. That's what you'll do then. And then he kind of stayed in contact with me. And then eventually I came to school at the U of A a couple of years later. And yeah, he became my professor and mentor. And then I got into the BFA acting program, and that was kind of it.
That was kind of it from there. Eh?
Yeah.
So like, let me know, correct me if I'm wrong, but so your mom was a performer growing up.
Yes.
And so that obviously had to impact or influence you, a certain way growing
Absolutely.
up. So kind of what sticks out in your mind about her performance that kind of you remember or recall or really brings good hearted feelings that kind of, say influenced you the most?
Oh man. I might get emotional. She was always about love and community, which is a thing I'm sure we'll talk about. She was always about love and community, and she just so badly wanted to bring joy to everyone.
Yeah.
And when we lived on a farm, and it was very hard going living on a farm, and my dad constantly like throwing hay bales, and you're like learning to drive a vehicle at 6 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, there's a track hoe on the property, and my dad's telling my brothers, like, we're learning how to operate heavy machinery because he didn't have workers and we were his workers.
Yeah.
And your children doing it. But it's like kind of fun because you get like everyone's playing with Tonka trucks and you're like, I have a real one at home. She always found a way to make everything fun. She always found a way to make everything a game. So even in some of the hardest times, because when we were growing up, we had no money. We had negative money.
Yeah.
Forever. She always found a way to make everything fun. And whether it was like silly accents or the way she would read us stories at bedtime, or when she would come into our school and she would do puppets, and it was always about just like love and fun and joy. That was it. Is just like, and she was always so funny that the rest of us just wanted to be funny like her.
Yeah.
And the way she could make our dad laugh was like, oh yeah, the joy that came with bringing joy to other people. And I think sometimes that gets confused for performers, that they're like, yeah, you're giving me joy because I'm performing for you and you're appreciating me. So, so I get joy.
Yeah.
Right. I experience the joy from you applauding. And I've never had that. I've never enjoyed applause. I've never enjoyed bowing. I've always enjoyed the audience interaction while it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. It was just like, oh, I get to help people let everything go for a little bit and experience a thing. That's everything.
Yeah.
So you can have a little break. Yeah.
So do you ever feel like it was maybe, at any point it was just purely transactional?
Which?
Like where you perform, they feel good, they're laughing, and then you feel better about yourself. Was there anything just kind of transactional, or was it more just like, you know what, this really makes me feel good. This gives me purpose, or, maybe just some direction in life growing up.
I think if at any point it felt transactional, it hasn't so far. Mm-hmm. I'm really trying to think if there's like a moment that I was like, ugh, I got to think about that. Let me think about that in the back of my brain. I think if it ever came to that, I wouldn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And that's, I guess maybe earlier in my career, there has been times where it's felt like it's been transactional for other people, especially on the other side rather than the audience side.
Yeah.
But more so like the people who are making the thing that you're a part of.
Yeah.
Sometimes that has felt transactional, and sometimes there's like a yuck feeling that comes with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I can, yeah.
And I think at the beginning of my career, that was a thing that I was very scared of disappointing people. And being like, well, if they want the singing, but I don't really want to do that thing. So if I say no, then what if they say I can't ever do anything again? Yeah. And it was just so much about, not necessarily about people applauding for me and me feeling good, but me letting them feel good. Yeah. That was like that's the thing. When an audience member can't help but react to something that's happening and you're like, yeah, there it is. Yeah. That's the joy, is like hearing them enjoy something. Gotcha. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's that one can go either way, in regards to if I was a young child and, growing up, I feel like if I did this and people, reacted this, that's the only way I would feel accepted.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. I didn't feel like that because that was how my brothers and I played.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it was less about feeling accepted. Yeah, because I don't.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I was just
Yeah.
wondering that because,
Yeah.
you know, at a young age, you can be almost programmed that way, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if I do this for mom would be happy, right?
Right.
And so, and I see that, like, if they don't do that, you know, that, and the parents react the other way, well, now I'm a bad son or a bad daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
No, I didn't have that.
yeah.
It wasn't like a reward system. It was just like a form of added play.
And that's great. And
Yeah.
especially if your mom's coming from the, you know, that kind of background as well.
Yeah.
That's, you know, very supportive and, you know, there's no greater feeling than just putting a smile on someone's face.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I feel like we need to do more of that. And I feel like we're
Yeah.
really lacking that. So
I agree. Very much so.
All right. So what are some of the key moments and experiences that, you know, at your time at the U of A and the BFA program that really stuck out to you and that really shaped you as an artist? And I know it's kind of a loaded question. And
In particular to the program?
in particular to the program. And I believe it's a 3-year program.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You have to do one prerequisite year and
Yeah.
then it's a 3-year program. But yeah, it ends in a degree.
Yeah.
That's a good question. What are the things that like specifically shape me? Clown. I guess like I could just like word vomit that really quickly.
Yeah.
Clown with Mike was like changed everything. Doing clown with Mike Kennard changed my entire world.
Yeah. Hey.
And my performance and my self, like the feeling about self, and very often helps with imposter syndrome. I actually just recently redid Clown with Mask with him.
Okay.
He hasn't done it in like, I think it was like 7 or 8 years. And then he was like, I'm going to do it. And my partner actually did it with me. It was great. And one of my best friends as well. It was very exciting. I was so excited they were doing it. But yeah, clown changed everything for me. And at the BFA, you're really lucky because you have so many different instructors from different walks of life, but also different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there was like, just lots of wonderful professors, I think was really amazing. I had a very talented class, which was fun. One of my best friends was in the class with me as well. We got in together, which was very exciting. And we lived together, which like some people were like, and no, it was great. Gabriel, she's fantastic. She's a fantastic performer. Yeah. So I think, but definitely exposure to clown was the main thing. My mom had done more of like, I think would be considered American style clown, which people associate with birthday clowns or like circus clowns.
Okay.
That would be, I would consider more like American clowning.
Yeah.
Then you have French style clowning and English style clowning. They're all very different, which is a lot more like gag heavy or like character heavy. Canadian clowning is its own thing. Which is very like narrative style, and all clowns are about like interaction with the audience. But I think that's one of the things is, for me, Canadian clowning opened up the idea that like connection with the audience is the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people hate clowns, because they experience birthday clowns. Like there's nothing more terrifying than seeing someone with like dead eyes going, have a great time, kids. And you're like, something is wrong with this human. They are clearly not having a good time.
Yeah.
Because it's a person lying, right? They have sad eyes and a big smile on their face. And children are like, what the is that?
Yeah.
It's just terrifying. Where Canadian clowning is like, I don't have to hide what I'm feeling. I feel that thing with you actively. And the more that I share and the more I make it about you and the more you will make it about me, and then we can share that energy. It's cyclical. It's about all of us coexisting together. So if instead of me, like a lot of actors, I find a lot of inexperienced actors or like scared actors have a habit of going, when they start to feel an emotion really strongly, they'll go inside themselves. Their eyes go down. They're looking away from their scene partner. They're like, oh, they have to break connection with that person. And they think it's like helping the performance. And in some cases it can. But I find it's more like the scared way of performing, where like, why wouldn't you want to share with that person? Why wouldn't you want to do something with that person in a way that affects them? Because if I do something to you, it's going to give you a feeling, and that's the gift I give to you.
Yeah.
And then you're going to feel something, and therefore you're going to do something to me, which gives me the gift of feeling. And then it becomes cyclical. So as a performer, those performers that make everything about themselves, that go inward and they're like, this emotion I'm feeling is so heavy. They're making it about themselves. And therefore, I find those actors are a lot more scared, a lot more self-conscious. Why do you want to make it about you? It's not about you. Make it about the person you want something from. And I think that's what clown really does. It makes it about something other than yourself. And then we get to share that experience together instead of me being like, look at how good my acting is. It's like, why? I didn't get into acting for applause. I got into acting because I want to share a thing. I want to play.
Yeah.
That's our job as performers, right? Actors are in a play. Our job is literally to play.
That's very interesting. And I never heard it expressed that way before. And now that you've mentioned it, I'm going to be looking at actors a different way now. So are they, I guess you can use that to see if they are a selfish actor.
Yeah.
Is that the word? I don't know if that's
selfish. Selfish can be a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So like making it about yourself.
Yeah.
Right? That's what my counselor says. She's like, selfish? Yeah, 100%. You can be selfish. You can be other-ish as well. But like, yeah, it's about that internal focus.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm coming inside and just like making it about me, right? I guess not. I don't want to say like narcissistic because it's not. It's about that person trying to process it internally. But it's like, if I go to, we listen to music.
Yeah.
We read a book. We play a video game. We look at art. We watch a movie. We go to see a play. We watch a comedy performance. We look at any type of art you can think of.
Yeah.
We want to feel something. We want to experience something.
Yeah.
So if I, as a performer, am just experiencing it for myself, I'm sure, and I've done this lots, watching other performers being like, wow, they're really feeling that thing. Good for them. Snaps for you. Like, I can see you doing a really great job, but I don't feel anything. But think about those movies that you watch and you feel with that performer and you're like, when they lose something, you feel like you've lost that thing too. And it connects to something with you that you're like, man, I remember this thing and I feel like I can't have that thing anymore. Or like knowing that they've lost something, it feels to you like you've lost it. Or when they've won something, you're like, oh yeah, right? Or they've like finally taken down the bad guy and you're like, yeah, F you, right? Like, I'm trying not to swear, but it's hard. No, it's but you know what I mean? Like, and you get to be triumphant with them. You get to mourn with them and experience that grief with them. You get to yell and scream and all of those things, and you get to do it with them. Those are the films that you remember. That's the music you listen to over and over. That's the artwork you hang in your house. That's the video game you can't stop playing. It's because it's you get to feel like it's a part of your story too. That should be our job. That should 100% be our job. And if I make it about me and me going, look at how good I'm experiencing this emotion. Yeah, people can appreciate it. Yeah. Sure. But they're not going to share in it. And my job is to share. It shouldn't be for me. It should be for you.
Wow. It's pretty deep.
It's good. And that's what I teach in my staff, but I get really intense about it, as you can see. Yeah.
So like, let's see, like, do you have any examples of, I guess maybe a film or a scene that actually is mainstream but doesn't do the job of bringing you in? And is there one that really sticks out? And then I guess another scene that actually does a very good job of it.
I use this example all the time, and I'm going to use two actors that I very much love and respect. So I love Jennifer Lawrence. I think she is awesome. I think she's so awesome. I think she's so funny, and she's just dope. Yeah. And I have seen her in films where I've been like, girl, I feel that so much. And then I see her in films where I'm like, yeah, I can see you feeling that thing. So one of the things that I use as an example of like, you can see an actor doing a really good job. She's performing very well. So there's a scene. Have you seen the movie Passengers?
No.
It's with Chris. Oh God, what are the Chris's?
Pratt?
Yeah, it's the one. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Chris Pratt. So basically there's a ship and it's traveling through space and everyone has like gone cryogenically put to sleep type of thing. And this guy is a mechanic and they're all traveling to like another planet. Yeah. Because you should watch it. It's an interesting show. They're traveling to another planet because I think Earth is fucked up or something like that. His pod malfunctions and he wakes up. And nobody else wakes up. Nobody else. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of going bonkers by himself on this massive ship being like, what do I do with myself? And there's like a robot bartender and that kind of stuff. And he's like kind of going crazy. And he sees Jennifer Lawrence and he decides to wake her up. Now, he doesn't tell her that he woke her up. She just thinks, oh my God, my pod also malfunctioned. Shit. They end up hanging out. She's kind of scared. They end up like dating, kind of falling in love type of situation. And then eventually he is going to propose to her. And the only people alive right now are him and her and this robot. And the robot tells her, when he decided to wake you up, because he assumes, because Chris Pratt says, yeah, she knows everything. And the robot goes like, oh, she knows everything? Oh, she knows this. He takes it literally.
Yeah.
And so she's sitting at the thing. He's like, yeah, I know when he was deciding whether or not to wake you up, he was really concerned. And you see her go like, I'm sorry, what? And then everything just goes internal. And she does a great job. To be clear, she does a really wonderful job. But you see everything go inside of her and you see her thoughts kind of going, but it's not clear to me what she's trying to share.
Yeah.
And it's clear she's having experience and it's clear she's very emotional. And again, like I said, she's doing an excellent job, but I just don't feel anything. And I can appreciate her doing that thing and doing a very good job at that thing. And I've seen her in other shows where I'm like, oh, girl, like Silver Linings Playbook, where she just kills it. And you feel that when she freaks out, you feel it. So there's moments where I've definitely, like, she's obviously very talented and very capable. But in that moment, I was like, man, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that loss with you. And it just feels like she just goes so inside.
Yeah.
But then if you look at like, you know, Silver Linings Playbook is a really great example of her doing that thing where she is sharing it. And clearly she won an Oscar for it, right? An actress that I talk about a lot that I'm always like, this person is Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen The Notebook?
Yeah.
Did you lose your mind?
What part?
Right? See, that's the thing, right? That's the question. Which part, man?
Which part?
Right? But do you know what I mean?
What do you want?
Exactly. And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, what do you want? And you see her crying and you feel your heartbreak.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel that because now you're a part of it. And that's what she does. Like, that bitch was in Doctor Strange. Okay?
Yeah.
Fine. It's a fine film. There's a scene where Benedict Cumberbatch's hands are messed up, right? And he realizes he can't be a surgeon anymore and he can't be a kid anymore. But he's losing his mind because he feels like he's lost everything. Yeah. And she comes into the apartment and it's such a like simple thing in a Marvel film. He's losing his mind and she comes in with food that she's like, okay, what are we doing? What's the plan? Yeah. And she comes in with such a clear want from him. And the want is, I want you. And she wants him, just him. Yeah. So badly. In whatever state he is, she just wants him. And as soon as she comes in, I got goosebumps already. You see it. You see her be like, everything is about you. And she doesn't, like a lot of actors I find like they know the script. So they're like, oh, I know I'm not going to get this person in the end. So like I kind of play the ending before it happens. She doesn't. Moment to moment, you feel that with her. And when he goes like, get out, you see her realize her loss and you're like, no, oh my God, no. Yeah. Like, and you feel it. And it's in Doctor Strange. And you feel it because every moment that woman is on camera, she owns it. And she doesn't just go, it's about me. She gives everything to her scene partner. Yeah. And she expects nothing in return.
So should that be the goal for a scene? Let's put our director's hat on.
100%.
Right? So, you know, when you're acting, you should be acting in a way that feeds or gives energy to the other person that you're acting towards.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
And then, so would there be a point in time in the scene that it's not beneficial?
Yeah, probably. I would say like, this is the idea of connection. So I talk about connection a lot in my work. Yeah. And it's really big for me. Let's say we're in a scene together and we're siblings. Yeah. Okay. And I really so let's say our mom passed away and we've had a big, we've argued and we haven't seen each other in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I'm coming to return something of mom's that I took that was supposed to be for you. Okay. Okay. What do you think? If we're maybe I'm making this complicated, but let's say, I can't remember what the word is. We're estranged. Okay. Okay. We haven't seen each other in a long time. You really want you really want to fix this relationship.
Okay.
Okay. And I really don't want to be here. Right? That feeling of like, and all we can really say to you is like, hey, thanks for this. And it's like, yeah, I should have brought it sooner. And it's like, do you want to come in? No, I should go. But playing that want so clearly, you're not going to play that want inside yourself because I'm not going to feel it. If you want me to stay and if you want to fix this relationship, what are you going to do?
Hesitate, hum, ha, make subtle signals.
Yeah, sure. And if you're doing those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want me to stay, you're probably going to look at me a lot more. You're probably going to hope for my attention. You're going to be seeking, you're going to be searching me. And I think in actions, so like, which would be like Actions, The Actor's Thesaurus is a book that I talk about a lot. My partner and I teach from it very much so. Marina Calderone is a incredible human in England, and it's all about actions. And I'm going to play an action to you. So if I'm going to say like, if you say like, hey, and I say hey back, let's say I want you to say hey to me, but I want you to think I hug you. Actively think about hugging me and what that would feel like as you say hey.
Okay.
So look at me and think about hugging me.
Okay.
And just say hey.
Hey.
Okay. And I'm actively going to think about pushing you. And I'm going to go, hey. Do you feel anything from that?
Yeah.
What do you feel?
I feel almost not rejected, but hey, what's up?
Great. So you just felt a thing. So now your next line is, thanks for bringing it back. What might you try to do with that? If I've just pushed you, what might you try to do to reconnect? Remembering that you're trying to get me, but you feel rejected. What are you going to try to do to me?
So I'd probably look down, look up, make eye contact.
Okay.
Pause, and then subtly say, thanks for bringing this to me.
Okay. Think about it in action. What might you do to that person if I've just pushed you away? What might you physically try to do to me? Like think like grab, grip, hold, pull. Yeah. What might you try to do if I've just gone?
So if you just nudged me or pushed me away, saying that you wanted space, and in my heart or in my character, I really wanted, to rekindle this friendship or this relationship, I would, I don't know. What would I do? I would would I put my hand on your shoulder?
Sure.
Right? Like,
right?
Yeah.
Think like I grip you. Okay? So let's play it again. You're going to say, hey, and you're going to think I hug you. And I'm going to think, hey, I'm going to say, hey, and I'm going to push you. I'm actively thinking about doing this to you. Yeah. And then you're going to think about, try to grasp me as if, when someone's like try to grab my hand. I'm trying to pull away and you grasp, right? Think about trying to do that.
Okay.
Okay. And you say, thanks for bringing it back.
Okay.
So start from hey.
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 And then thanks for bringing this back.
Okay. And I might shrug you off, or I could go, I flick you and go, should have brought it sooner. How do you feel?
I feel the tension.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Tension. How
do you feel?
Tense.
Yeah. Because now we get to share that thing. Yeah. Now try to play an emotion on it instead, which I think is a thing that a lot of performers do. They play emotions instead. So try to play an emotion. Decide whatever emotion you want to play on your first hey.
Okay.
It can be completely different what you did before.
Hey.
Okay. And I'm going to think, hey. What'd you get from that?
Something's up.
Okay. Did you feel anything?
I felt as if you're pissed off.
Great. But did you feel something?
You
know what I mean? Because like saying, oh, this person's pissed off is like, oh yeah, I can assume from this person. But did I make you feel anything from that?
Yeah, I felt, I don't know what the term is, but I felt like, like, hey, what's up? Like, what did I do?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Did it feel as strong as an action when I tried to push you?
No.
Yeah. Because I'm not making it about you. I'm making it about me.
Yeah.
Hey. I'm not sharing anything with you. That can also be an action that I could play. I could dismiss.
Yeah.
I could, I could flick. I could whatever. So something I teach all of my students is when you're playing as a performer, and I don't know if this is necessarily answering the question, but I have ADHD, so you're welcome. If we play an emotion, our audience doesn't get to decide how they feel about something because we're telling them how to feel.
Yeah.
But if I play an action to you, right, the audience can decide how they feel. If I play I slap you and I go get out and I think about actively like just smacking you, right? And I go get out. You can see it in my eyes.
Yeah.
Right? An audience member might be like, oh, get out indeed, right?
Yeah.
Another audience member might be scared by that. They might be frustrated by that. They might be sad by that. They might be kind of excited about that. They might be horrified. They might be joyous about it.
Yeah.
Like, but if I just play angry, get out. What am I doing? I'm thinking about how I should be feeling versus what I'm trying to do to you.
Yeah.
And if you're my goal, if my goal is to get out of here, I need to do the things to get out of here.
Yeah.
And some of those things are going to be to you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to shove you. I'm going to twist you. I'm going to crush you. I'm going to grind you. I'm going to think about those things as I actively pursue my objective.
Yeah.
And then you'll feel those things and they'll feel those things because I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm just trying to get what I want.
Yeah.
And how am I trying to get what I want? By doing things to you or, know what I mean?
So like, as a beginner actor or you know, just any, I guess, just advice for anyone in the industry, especially actors and actresses. What techniques would you give them? I guess high level techniques, or just to when they're in the mode and they're in that spot, how do they identify that? Hey, am I actually, you know, putting out emotion out there? Am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? Like, what would some like checklists or check marks they could do?
Stop thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Because that's what actors do. We go internal, right? And then we have that same problem. Am I doing this right? Do I look okay? Does the camera sound right? Did I have the right intonation on that thing? Did they feel what I was doing? Stop worrying about it and do something to somebody.
Yeah.
What do you want? Focus on what you want and go get that thing.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. And so many actors, I see them so tentative on stage or on camera, and I'm like, there's this moment in, it's so good. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, yeah.
So good. That film is unreal.
Yeah. The editing in that is insane too.
And the performances are unreal. And there's a scene, for anyone who hasn't seen the end of it, I'm really sorry, I'm about to ruin it, kind of. Not really, but kind of. There's a moment where the mother and daughter, it's like right near the end and everything's gone crashing, right? And they're at the car.
Yeah.
And there's this moment where they're just there for each other and they're so present and their performances are unbelievable. And then out of nowhere, the daughter just like breaks connection. And I remember watching the film for the first time, and she does they both do an incredible job in that film. But there was this one moment where the daughter just kind of like, you could see her just kind of like go inside her head for a second. And then she gets back into the scene, but she breaks it. And I literally, you can ask my partner about it, I literally sat up and went, no, because I was so angry because she had me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she had me in the palm of her hand. And I was like, yes, this is everything. I'm feeling everything you're feeling. I'm feeling everything your mom is feeling. I feel like I'm a part of this moment. And then for some reason she broke it. And I was like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why did you take that away? Why did you take that moment away? And I remember being so upset about that. Because clearly she'd done an excellent job throughout the film and like you just felt so many things. And I think she's a fantastic performer, but it was that one choice. And I think it was a one take. I'm sure they'd done other takes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the director chose that take for all of the incredible reasons that it is what it is. And they just did so many beautiful things. But that one moment I was like, oh, you lost me and you had me. And I was so there. And I remember just being so upset.
Yeah.
That I was like, I felt like I wasn't, because she went, no, I can't have this, because she went in her head. I was like, I'm not allowed to have it either. And maybe that was the intention. Maybe that's what she wanted. And maybe that's exactly the point. And maybe it worked so well that me yelling at the TV was perfect.
Yeah.
But it was like, it was that moment. And so maybe that was intentional. And if it wasn't, hell yeah, girl.
Yeah.
But like, I remember being like, oh, why? Like,
yeah, I'm curious if that was like an editing, they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Because like it was just kind of a
you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, it was a weird break, like in the emotion as you're listening. And then all of a sudden you're like, what?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So it's interesting that you also remember it because like what a powerful scene that has this weird little blip, which also like that's okay because they get it back and it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
But like, oh, I remember like, yeah.
You know, there's also one movie. Now that you brought this up, now I'm looking at it from.
This is what you should do.
Yeah, I'm looking at it from a different perspective now, and I'm just like, what? God darn! Now I'm gonna be watching movies in different ways now.
Good.
Like, it's like when you watch commercials now. I'm just like, I wonder how did they get that angle, and how did they do this?
For sure, good.
So one movie that stands out is the one with Adam Sandler. I think it's Uncut Gems.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good.
So now that you brought this up and explained it to me, I'm really picturing Uncut Gems by Adam Sandler. And in that entire movie, there were so many moments where I was just anxious and very emotional.
Yes.
And I really felt like I was there.
Absolutely.
So that is what you're talking about.
Yes.
That is what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It is those films that make you feel everything.
Yeah.
That's why you mentioned Uncut Gems, and I'm like, oh, and also I said Everything Everywhere All at Once, and we all went, oh, yeah. Right? And there's those films that you just remember because they just sit with you.
Yeah.
Because, and it's again, and I want to be clear, movies cannot be made without crew. You can make a movie without actors, easy. You can easily make a fantastic film without actors, and actors are so up our own about how we're integral. Yeah, great, good.
Yeah.
Nah. You cannot make a movie without your crew. That is number one. And this is just a sidebar because I have ADHD. So we'll please bring me back on track. But like, I just have to say this. I hate being called talent when I'm on set. They're like, oh, the talent's here. And I'm like, nah, I am part of the talent. The talent exists in that crew. Crew is everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And when people leave a movie theater or like skip the credits, when streaming services skip the credits of a film, I get so angry and they're like, you want to watch something else? It's like, no, I want to watch the credits. I want to know who was involved in this production because there's hundreds of people involved in this production that did so much work that are not getting even close to the notoriety that they deserve.
Yeah.
You can make a film without actors. You cannot make a film without your crew. And so to be called talent, it feels so disrespectful to the crew because if anything, the crew is the talent. Yeah. They are the talent. They are the one that makes it work. Like, and then we just add to it. We're icing on the cake. It's still a cake without actors. And
I think you're the first person that's actually said that.
Which is shocking to me.
But it totally makes sense because without the background helpers, the background, like the craft services, like any of those people that support everybody that's, putting the stuff in front of the camera. Yes. You're not going to have the stuff in front of the camera if you don't have the background people to support it.
Yeah. Have you ever worked with hungry people? Have you ever worked with hungry, tired people when when subs isn't there on time? Yeah. And like coffee isn't there? Yeah. Like, or your ADs, people just like take ADs for granted of all positions. First, second, third, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Your ADs, your boom operator, you had Jesse in here. Yeah.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Incredible human. So funny. Also loves cats, right? Like I love cats. Jesse loves cats. We have cats. We show each other pictures of our cats. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just, anyways, I had to say that as a sidebar. So like, please really include that because it's just so important and people just do not understand. Yeah. People, like muggles are like normal people. You know what I mean? Harry Potter term, I guess, magic. But are people who just like aren't in the industry, just don't get it and they don't appreciate it. And it's impossible without your crew. It is so possible without your performers. It's impossible without your crew.
Voice acting requires a different skill set. Yes. And a different, set of techniques to really portray what, I guess, the character, the animation or video game character. Can you walk us through some of those techniques or how do you get into that mindset when preparing for a voiceover?
Sure. Depending on what kind of voiceover. So if we're talking about characters, when you're doing voiceover of any kind, people forget that you don't have anything else to rely on but your voice. And so you don't have the facial reactions or the facial expressions. You don't have the body engagement. People can't see that. So everything has to come through your voice. Something I like to just say to my students or people I'm coaching is when you call someone, can you hear if they're happy or not? Like if I answer the phone and I'm like, hello, thank you for calling TELUS. How can I help you? You can hear I'm not in the best mood. But if I'm smiling, it changes it.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for calling TELUS. How can I help you?
Huh.
You're going to hear the difference. So even though people can't see my face and they can't see my body, does not mean that I am not engaging. One of my favorite audio technicians to work with, his name is Spencer. He's a wonderful human. And also Johnny Blaireau. Sorry, I can't. There's just like so many cool people in the city that people just like don't know.
Yeah.
Spencer's amazing. Johnny is so cool. And just working with them, they make everything so much fun and so much easier. But they laugh at me because I'm constantly moving. When I was doing Victoria, like I was pretending to have a sword and shield the whole time. Part of the game was also motion capture.
Okay.
So I had like dots on me. But I was constantly like moving as if I'm like walking through a forest. Just because the people can't see your face or your body does not mean you stop engaging them. And that's, I think, a mistake that a lot of voiceover actors make that are professionals or that are just learning. They think that their body must stay still. Yes, I have to stay within the vicinity of the microphone, but my body and my face needs to engage just as much as it would as if I was on stage.
Yeah.
Because that's how the expression comes through. If I'm supposed to be like rushed, right? If I go, oh guys, we gotta get out of here, right? I can do the voice. You get the general thing of Sayo being like, we gotta get out of here. But if I actually engage my body and my face and I go, oh guys, we gotta get out of here, I'm already having more expression because my body and face are engaging in a way that's going to actively change my voice.
Yeah.
And it's going to make it come through a lot clearer. So I will always make sure that I am engaging my body and my face in a way that's like, if I'm Victoria, she's walking and saying things like this. But if I just go, hey, watch your back, that does nothing. But if I go, hey, watch your back, right? I'm engaging my body in a way that shows I'm tense, something is tense, my face is. So my voice will change.
Yeah.
Just because you're behind a microphone does not mean you stop engaging your face or your body. If anything, it means you engage them more. And it is an art to learn like how you can move your whole body and still stay within a range of the microphone. And sometimes, you got to learn that over time, but it's an excellent thing to practice. And like I said, the technicians will laugh at me all the time because when I'm singing for Sayo, I'll be like, na, 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 ba, da, 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 woohoo! Like, and because you have to do that because otherwise I'm going, woohoo! I don't have the same breath capacity.
Yeah.
So that would be the biggest thing. Engage. If you want to sell something to someone about like going to a spa, I'm not just going to be like, hey, welcome to the spa. It's so exciting, right? I'm going to soften my shoulders and move them in a way that is going to make you feel soft and at ease. And it's going to change the way you hear my voice.
I was going to say like that skill set or that technique, just doesn't apply to just voiceovers because I can see that like, if you're in sales and marketing,
yes,
right. And you're doing cold outreach and you're calling someone up, you don't want to, as a person on the other end, you don't want to hear someone who's just so monotone or just sounds like they hate their job. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like I hate cold calls.
Yeah.
But if the other person is engaging and, and maybe.
Yeah, I'll talk to you.
I'll talk to him, right?
100%. I might not buy your stuff, but I'll talk to you.
Yeah. So.
But that's that thing, right? So now we go back to connection.
Yeah.
I want to engage with another human being and I want to engage with them in a genuine way.
Yeah.
And if someone is having a time and doesn't seem like they want to engage, do I want to engage with that person? No.
Yeah.
Or I might make the choice to be like, I will engage with you because I want you to have a better day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, hi. And I'm like, hi, how are you? And they're like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, oh yeah, how's your day? And how many times when you go, how are you? Yeah, good. How are you? Yeah, good. Thanks. Can I get this thing? Ask them, genuinely ask a person, not just because you're like, oh, I guess I should do this. Genuinely ask a person how their day is. When you go to get a coffee, I went to McDonald's the other day. My brother and I were on a volleyball team together, played volleyball. And I was like, Gary, I want ice cream. Take me to McDonald's. And he was like, okay. And he drove out of his way so we could go get ice cream. I went in, I ordered on that stupid screen that they have in McDonald's, which I hate. And it's like, you can pay here or pay at the counter. I was like, I'm paying at the counter. I want to talk to a human.
Yeah.
And I walked up and I saw this young girl and I was like, hi, how are you? And she's like, fine, thanks. How are you? And I was like, and she was lovely, but just like really straight to the point. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. How's your day? And she was shocked. She was like, It's fine. I'm like, just fine. And I genuinely wanted to know about her day. I genuinely cared about her day. And then she was like, oh, I was like, has it been busy? Like, I'm asking probing questions because like I want to talk to this human.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh yeah, it's actually been kind of slow. And I was like, oh, okay, do you prefer it that way or not? And she was like, oh, this. And then she asked like, is there something else that you wanted? I was like, no, I just wanted to know about your day. And she was like, oh, thanks. And I had ordered one small blizzard for me and one regular size for my brother because he's very tall. And I was like, I'll get one of each. And then she brought me my ice cream. And there was like a dad and his kid talking about girls or something.
Yeah.
And I was just standing there. And then she came over and she had brought 2 regular size and she went, I made them both regular because you were so nice. Damn. And I was like, you did not have to do that. And she was like, I know that. And you didn't have to ask me how my day was. People just want to be seen.
Yeah.
Why is it so difficult for us to see other people? That's all we want, right? All the time. We all just want to be seen for who we are and what we think and what we believe and all of those things. So if that's what I want, I'm sure that's what other people want too. So how hard is it to take an extra 30 seconds to like engage with a person genuinely?
Yeah.
And then maybe their day will be better and maybe they'll have a nicer day and maybe they'll be nicer to someone else.
Yeah.
And maybe if a kid comes in and says something rude, maybe they won't take it as personally. Like, you know?
So when you did that at McDonald's,
yeah,
she was taken aback, right?
Yeah,
like,
she's surprised.
She was surprised. You know, I feel like as a I don't even know, as a human race, maybe, or maybe us as people, that it's not normal anymore.
It's not.
Right?
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
She was taken aback. So like she was right away when she was taken aback, she was on the defensive.
Oh, I don't know about defensive. Why do you choose that word? No, this is good. I'm interested.
Because I feel like, well, for me, I would be defensive because I would be like, what does this person want? Are they trying to sell me something? Is he a scammer?
Okay.
There's all these different things that, because I've been jaded in the past.
I understand why you use the word defensive. Yeah, keep going though.
So I'm like, okay, whoa, why are you being so nice to me?
Right. What do you want? Yeah.
What do you want? Right.
Yeah.
So, and I find it sad that I feel like that and I think like that.
It's called negative sentiment. Negative sentiment, negative assumption, which is the thing I'm working on all the time.
Gotcha. Having
a negative assumption or sentiment that someone else is going to do or say something for a purpose, or like, especially if you assume that it's going to be a negative thing.
Yeah.
You know? But it's hard not to with the world that we live in. It's really hard not to when it's like, I'm really working on having positive sentiment. Like I know like parking in a parking stall and like someone has parked across 2 lanes and like, or 2 spots. And it's like, oh, why did they do that? What a jerk. And then you're like, well, maybe they were in a rush.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, they probably did that on purpose. It's like, maybe they were in a rush. Maybe they just like were tired. Maybe they just felt like it. And also like, there's other spots for me to park.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to get mad about this person and let this affect my day when it's like, who knows what they were dealing with? Maybe they had a bad day and they were like, you know what, someone else could have a bad day. Maybe that was their intention, but also like, that doesn't have to affect me.
Yeah.
And so that is the thing. So I totally understand why you use defensive now. Cause so yeah, maybe she did go on the defensive. Maybe she was like, what is this and why? Yeah. But we just don't expect it anymore, do we? Because community is not a thing.
No, it's not. I feel like we're losing that sense of community.
Yeah.
And I think it's really leading to a spot where individuals are you know, emotionally, mentally, spiritually disconnected from one another.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And that in turn leads to, and I could be wrong, this is just my opinion.
Fully, yeah.
But, you know, I think it's leading to depression.
Yeah.
I think it's leading to anxiety, right? And I really think it's breaking up on how people they can't communicate to one another now.
Yeah.
Right. They're losing that sense of communication. How do I communicate? How do I communicate my feelings, what I'm thinking in a proper, healthy manner?
Yeah.
To other individuals.
Well, it's that thing too, right? And this also ties into acting, right?
Yeah.
If I make everything about me and nothing about you, there's zero risk to that. So actors and people go, if I make everything about me and I stay internal, there's no risks to that. Because I can control how I'm being perceived and I can control what my performance is and I can control this or that. And if I do it the opposite and I seek outside and I make it about you, what if I don't get the attention that I want or need or deserve or whatever? Which, like, for people to believe that they deserve other people's attention is an interesting concept to me, because why do you think you deserve that? You don't deserve somebody else's attention.
Yeah.
You're not entitled to somebody else's attention. Should people share attention? Absolutely. But you're not entitled to it. That's just kind of like a side thing. But like people are scared of that, right?
Yeah.
So people want attention, but they don't want to give attention anymore. Because if I give you too much of my attention, if you decide that you don't like me, that's the risk. That's a huge risk. What if there's something about me that you don't like? What if there's something about me that I don't like that you see?
Yeah.
And then what? You see the thing that I hate and you'll know that I suck. When it's like, you don't suck. We all have aspects about ourselves. And I say this to so many of my students in my connection stuff. All of us have bad things. All of us have bad things. And I say all these things like quite confidently right now because we're chatting and like when I'm engaged in this, I have these problems all the time. We talked a little bit about imposter syndrome when I first got here before we started the podcast. I have that all the time. I had imposter syndrome about coming here. And then I just got really excited. Because then I was like, nah, I'm going to put that to the side. Which is funny because you went to me and you went, why did you say yes? You don't know who I am. And I was like, what does that have to do with anything? So we're both equally having imposter syndrome because you're like, I saw your resume and you've done all these things and why not? Right? I'm also coming here and going like, why me? Why me? Why did you ask me? It's like, yeah, okay, I've done all these things. But for some reason, it doesn't matter how many things I've accomplished. I'll still have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because it's scary. Right? And so there's that risk to being like, if I share with someone my feelings or my anxieties, what if they take it wrong? Or what if they don't take it at all? Which sometimes can be more about you than it is about me. If I'm like, I'm anxious and I go to you and like, I'm anxious, I'm really scared about doing this. And you're like, okay, well, get over it. That's not about me. That's about you. That's about you not being able to deal with your own stuff and you not being able to listen and accept the thing that my need that I have.
Yeah.
But a lot of people go, oh, well, you just told me to get over it. Well, now I should get over it. What's wrong with me? Is something wrong with me? And now there's risk. Well, now I've done this thing and then you've slapped my hand away. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So when someone actually goes, oh, what do you need? Like, oh, I'm anxious about this. Or are you okay if we do this? And you go, I say like, I don't really know what to do. And you go, yeah, what do you need? Like when I came in, you're like, do you want some water? Do you need some bathroom? You both were like very welcoming. And we're like, yeah, it's going to be really casual. Do you want some pizza? Yeah, I want some pizza. You know what I mean? Like you really set a very safe, calm, welcoming space. So it makes it easy to want to share and talk.
Yeah.
But it's that risk that you're going to take by having me in here. Like who knows what I'm going to say? You know what I mean? But also like, thank God for editing. Am I right?
Yeah.
Just edit the whole thing out. Yeah. But like, who knows what I'm going to say? Who knows what you're going to say?
Yeah.
But that's the risk. And we take that risk knowing that in the end, everything will be okay.
Okay. So hold on here.
Yeah. There's so many things.
Let's unpack this because
this is so much more than you bargained for. I bet you're probably like, I thought we were just going to talk about this.
Imposters. Okay.
Yeah.
So this podcast is about, the industry, the filmmaking industry. It doesn't matter what part of the industry, but a lot of people in this industry feel imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay. And for those individuals who are looking to getting into this industry, looking to start, expanding their network, maybe starting to pick up a camera and just learn, what is, where's the record button, what is ISO, what is aperture, all that fun stuff. What, I guess, in your experience, how do you identify that you are going through imposter syndrome and what are some techniques to combat that?
Having good people that you can talk to about it.
So a network. Yeah,
a network. But rather than a network, because we didn't talk about this on the podcast, but we were talking about this earlier. I don't like the term networking because networking to me implies that I have to get something else from someone else versus community.
Yeah.
Having a good community around you. I'm surrounded by crazy, incredible people in all sorts of like film and voiceover and theater and all this kind of stuff. And the people that I'm like, I don't really mesh with. Probably not going to spend as much time with them.
Yeah.
But like, I'm surrounded by like yes people. One of my producing partners, her name is Anna Premiani, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
My other producing partner, like I have a group of producing. We call each other the Wolf Pack, because wolves travels and yeah, exactly. And they travel in packs, right? And they support each other.
Yeah.
But it's Anna Premiani, Ashley Pierce, who's also of Northern Gateway Films.
Yeah.
And Kristen J. Welker, she is VP Actor North and also intimacy coordinator. And we're just like this pack of women in film and we're very excited about it and doing stuff. But man, those people are yes people. Kristen is very good about being like, nah, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, great, thank you. I need to go back to the drawing board. But like Anna is like, yeah, you can do it. She says this thing, which I adore. She says, it's just noise.
Hmm.
It's just noise. What do you want? How are you going to get it? Everything else is just noise. I remember when I first was like, I want to get into directing.
Yeah.
People were like, I had so many people be like, absolutely. Like camera operators that I worked with in previous projects that were like, you need to do this. You need to direct because you've just got an eye. Because I'm so curious. I was always asking questions and like, why do you do this? And what's this? And why is that? And I was like, oh, I would have done this. And he was like, yeah. Right. And not about the project we were on, but about a different thing that I was like, yeah, I saw this movie and I would have done this. And they're like, yeah, I would have done that too. It's smart. And like a lot of them were like, you should do this. And then I had other individuals be like, you shouldn't direct. And I was like, why? They're like, you should get somebody else to direct it and you should just be in it. And I was like, but I want to try this thing. And it's a short film. Why does it matter? And Anna was constantly like, you don't have a choice. You're doing this thing because everything's just noise.
Yeah.
And what's the worst that happens? It's bad. Then we learn. You have to start somewhere. And if I didn't have a support network of those people and my partner who's incredibly supportive, and like we argue about stuff all the time. We're both in the industry. He teaches voice and speech at the university. He's an incredible actor. And I'm not just saying that because he's my partner, but like he's very good. Yeah. And he's English. He sounds like Jon Snow. So everyone's like, swoon. Yeah. And so, but like he's incredibly supportive. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this thing. He's like, what do you mean? Absolutely you can. If anyone can do this, it's you. Having creative partners like Marvin Berry, my sketch comedy troupe, man, we argue, but it always is like a yes and. Yeah. And you make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Imposter syndrome is that thing about being like, I don't know if I should be doing this because I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I have enough experience. Reach out then. Like today is a great example. Trent Oster from Beamdog, who was one of the OG BioWare like creators, founders, owns Beamdog, is seriously one of the coolest humans I've ever encountered in my life. And I messaged him a couple days ago. I was like, hey, I got a question. I got approached with a thing and can I talk to you about it? Guy was like, yeah, was like, what time works for you? Here's a Zoom. You want to talk on the phone? You want to Zoom? I was like, yeah, let's Zoom. I want to see your face. He's like, great. Zoom. We have a conversation and he's like, what do you want to know? And is just like wants to help, just wants to support and just wants to be like, what do you want to know? Even if it wasn't in competition with him, but if it had been, he'd have been like, yeah, what do you want to know? Let's compete. Yeah. He's just that person who is like, yeah, I want to help you grow. Yeah. I want to help you understand. And those are the type of people that build community so we can all grow together. There's this weird thing of like, and that's that imposter syndrome. So sorry, there's too many things. That's that thing about like, if you are unsure about something, ask someone who knows. What's the worst thing that potential mentor could say to you? No. Yeah. Then you ask somebody else. Maybe they don't have capacity for you right now. Maybe they just don't want to do that. Maybe they had a bad experience. It's not necessarily about you. If it is about you and they tell you, maybe you should think about that. Yeah. But like, ask someone else then. Just ask.
But okay. So like finding a good support network. Yeah. Right? But how do you go about that? Is a support network a Facebook group? Is a support network reaching out to, I don't really know. Like what defines a support network and how do you create one?
Well, I think you're already doing it by what you're doing, right? You're making a podcast, you're bringing in people that have similar likes and having discussions with them. Mm-hmm. Like I would hope that you would consider me a part of your network now or part of your community now. Cause I consider you a part of mine. Yeah, right. Yeah. So like, look at that. We've already made more by just asking, you know what I mean? And I think that's a scary thing because people go like, if I ask, what if they say no? But you just ask and just reach out and try something new. Right. I remember being like, I'm really interested in this thing. It's so far from anything that I do, but I'm interested in it. Do I know anyone who knows anyone? I like posted on Facebook or something and someone was like, I know someone who knows someone who does that. And I was like, cool. Do you think you could hook me up? And they're like, yeah. Yeah. And then in the end, I was like, I'm not interested in this thing after all. And they're like, yeah, I don't care. That's cool. Yeah. Right. But I found out because I tried.
So,
excuse me.
I guess I'm trying to come up from it from a perspective of and let's just say.
Right. Sorry, I kind of veered off, but keep going. Yeah.
No, it's all good. From the perspective of, from the listener's point of view, hey, I want to get into acting.
Yes.
Right. How do I get started? How do I start building a support network? How do I find a mentor? You know, like where do I even start?
So Facebook groups, I think, are one. A lot of people are like, not Facebook, but Facebook groups, I think, are one. Looking for those types of listings, places to find resources also, like the union, the Actors Union, ACTRA, they post things on their website all the time. And they also, to be clear, post ones that they recommend.
Oh.
Which is a good place to start as well, like in terms of like agencies or that kind of stuff, but also like courses. They'll post things that they recommend that you know is legit.
Yeah.
Because there are lots of predatory classes or agencies, in quotation, agencies or companies out there.
Yeah.
So like Facebook is a good place to start. I know for a fact that there are tons of people in my community that have joined like YEG Film or YYC Film or YVR Film or all of those groups. Like Chase is a really great example from Edmonton Production Rentals. Incredibly talented human, is in all of these different film groups.
And he's always recommending people.
Absolutely.
Right? He's always a connector of people.
Absolutely. So that's a place to start. And Chase will recommend people, or he'll be like, not this. Kristen Welker, VP Actor North, she will go, Actor Alberta North, she will go on and be like, hey, do you have these proper tools in place? Or like, if you're looking for this, try this. And she will recommend to people who are like, yeah, hey, I'm new in this. I'm just figuring it out. Here's my headshot and resume. If they're looking for feedback, you can post it. Know that all the feedback you get is not going to be the best.
Yeah.
Right? If you're looking for information like that, you can do a Google search, right?
Yeah.
You can ask someone that's adjacent. A good place to start finding community is to physically go out and meet people. Places to try that. If you want to be an actor, go to Rapid Fire and take an improv class. That I think that improv and clown to me are the two most foundational things that any actor of any kind can take.
Yeah.
Is improvisation and clown. And those two things will build you, like just really give you the framework to what performing is and how to be a generous performer.
Yeah.
And so like right there, you can go take a clown class. You can go take an improv class. Make sure you research stuff so that someone's like, I'm doing this class. And you're like, okay, what have you done? Don't just go, here's a class. There's a lot of agencies that are predatory like that.
Yeah.
There's one in West Edmonton Mall that I probably can't say their name on air because if I do, I will get sued. But they are a predatory agency. But I told you their location. Good enough. But like, make sure you research it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to research it, or just put it out in the world and be like, does anyone know anything about this? And just ask the question.
Yeah.
Even if you're a non-union member, the union, though they're very busy right now, they will always try to answer your questions if you have them because they care. They care. The university, ask people at the university. Ask people at Grant MacEwan, ask people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are places to go. Go to a theater, watch a play, and then stick around after. Talk to the box office people and say like, hey, do you know who I could talk to about maybe getting involved in this? Volunteer at a theater.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Go in a film group on Facebook and be like, hey, I'm interested in doing this. Can I shadow someone?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, hey, I want this job. I've never done it before. It's like, just ask if you can shadow. You probably won't get paid for it.
Yeah.
You'll probably get fed. But then you can go and you can experience that thing and see if you like it.
Yeah.
And that's a place to start. But like just getting stuck online in the forever web of everything, that's a good place to reach out, but try to find physical places to go. There are meetups in Edmonton if people are looking to it. ESIO does events.
Yeah.
There are things like GameCon. ESIO does events. Edmonton Production Rentals does events. There are talks that happen from Edmonton Arts Council and the Alberta Arts Foundation for the Arts, AFA, right?
Yeah.
There are places that you can look and find these workshops that are educational for you that will give you a place and a platform to go.
Yeah.
You just got to look for them.
Okay, so like let's set the mindset for that individual.
Sure.
Like, hey, I want to network.
That's good. I know what you mean. I want to get to know people. Network, I get you.
Yeah, I want to get to build my circle of people, my circle of influence.
For sure.
What is the mindset I should be in attending these events? And say you're an introvert, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of introverts out there, and they really get very anxious when they just hit the RSVP for that event.
Yeah.
So what is the mindset for them, or what is your recommendation on where their mindset should be at and how they should be, I guess, presenting themselves when they're there physically?
Be curious.
Be curious.
Again, when we get anxious and we're inside ourselves, we're thinking about all the worst things that could happen.
Yeah.
Be curious and think about the outside. Like, who might I meet? rather than, because I find sometimes I get really anxious when people want me to talk about me, which is why I get so excited talking about other stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I talk about me, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to talk about me. Right. But like, be curious about those people.
Yeah.
How did you get into it? Why did you start doing it? Why did you decide to change? What made you like operating versus grip? What made you want to do this? Do you do photography? Right? Did you always just do acting? What do you prefer acting in? Drama or comedy? Why? Ask questions, be curious, and look for information, not just specifically about what you want to know and how this person can do something for you, because then you're thinking, what if I'm not good enough for them? You don't know. Just ask them questions about them and they'll ask you questions about you. Just be genuine. You can be like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I've fully gone into like a situation and be like, I'm really nervous about this. And been like, I'm really nervous. There's a clown rule that Mike says all the time. If you resist, it will persist.
If you resist,
it will persist.
Okay.
If you have like a feeling that you're like, no, I'm fine. I'm not anxious at all. I'm totally fine. Then it's just like builds in you. And then you're like, oh, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Or if you're just like, I'm going to label, this is psychology teaches this to you too. I'm going to label that emotion. I feel anxious.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to tell myself it's okay to feel that. It's okay that I feel anxious.
Yeah.
I'm anxious. That's okay. I'm going to think about why I feel that emotion. I'm anxious because I'm nervous that these people might not like me or that I don't have much to bring to the table. Okay, well, that's also okay that I feel that way. How much of that is real?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much I have to bring to the table because I'm new. Okay, I don't have much to bring to the table, but I'm really interested and I'm willing to learn.
Yeah.
And people value that over anything else. Because when people come in and they're like, I've done nothing, but I'm going to bolster myself. And be like, yeah. And this is what happens in Los Angeles a lot or Vancouver. Yeah, I've worked with this person and I've done this thing and like da-da-da. And like, check out my Instagram. It's like, I don't care about that. What do you like to do for fun?
Yeah.
Do you like to read? Do you like to surf? What do you like to do?
Yeah.
Do you like to go to Disneyland and hug all the mascots? What do you like to do? That's what's going to get you so much further because you get to want to know people.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. So like if you're focused on you and what you are offering or not offering versus like, yeah, okay, I'll be realistic. I don't have a lot to offer in this, but I'm really freaking interested. And I know that you're the person or you might be one of the people that I could talk to that could put me in the direction of someone else. And there are gatekeepers everywhere in any industry, but in particular the film industry or the entertainment industry. And they love to be gatekeepers. They're like, num, 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 num. Let me hold all this. Let me sit on my like dragon hoard of gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like, I am everything. I'm living.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And then there's gatekeepers that pretend that they're not gatekeepers, but they are. And I just wish they'd be honest about it because you can see it or you can feel it or you end up getting screwed over by that individual.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like, if you do get screwed over by a person like that, it's not really about you. It's about them. And it's going to reflect more poorly on them than it is you in the end, even though it sucks at the time. But like, be curious.
So being curious, what's a good icebreaker?
I always say, what do you like to do?
What do you like to do?
What do you like to do for fun?
Yeah.
It's like, my name is Nikki. I'm really nervous about being at this event. I don't feel like I should be there, but I'm interested in learning stuff. On that note, what do you like to do for fun? Yeah. I have a friend of mine. She's a burlesque dancer. Yeah. Her name is Scarlett Von Baum. She's unbelievable. She's currently lives in Edinburgh. I love her to bits. One of the most like dynamic performers I've ever seen in my life. She has a list of questions for every new person that she meets that she like sits down and like has a coffee with. I can't remember how many questions it is. I think it's 10. But every single person that she meets and like has like a sit down with, she will ask them all the same 10 questions. Interesting. And she like keeps a list, like a note of it. Yeah. And she's just like interested. Write down some questions if you don't know what to ask. Yeah. It's like being an interviewer, right? You have all these wonderful questions written down that are like, these are things to highlight if it's like we don't know what to talk about, or these are specifically things that you want to cover, right? Yeah. Write down a list of questions, have them on your phone and be like, what word do you hate more than any other word? And people will be like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, totally. And you're like, this is what I got right now. You know what I mean? And then you'll laugh because they're like, yeah, I get it. Okay. And then you can have a conversation that's just genuine about a thing without feeling the pressure about like, I really want to ask this person about like, hey, I need this really important information about X, Y, or Z, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. Or if you want really important information, just go for it. Like I will often say like, at the beginning of a person, like if I'm calling a person in my community that they know I love and care about them, but I'll just say like, you know, I love you. You know, I care about you. I don't have time though to like for pleasantries. I need to know this thing. And they're like, okay, great. And then at the end, I'm like, also, do you have time for coffee?
Yeah.
Later. Right. Or at the end, I don't have time to talk to you, but just know that I love you. And thank you very much. Hang up. Whatever. Or like leave the conversation.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that you're like, I'm really just coming in for this thing. It's got to be quick and dirty. Can I have this information? Okay, thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
But know that that's probably something you're going to do with someone you have an established relationship with.
Yeah.
And you're not going to want to do that all the time because like show people that you care, you know?
Yeah. It's going to have to be a give and take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like be genuinely curious. If you want people to be curious about you, you have to be curious about them.
So a couple of things that I really want to, just for me personally, is the whole community thing. And really the whole collaboration thing, the whole not gatekeeping, and really learning how to celebrate each other's successes, right? Really elevating one another. If we wanted to really become a powerhouse and I could be just daydreaming because I don't really know how.
We're artists. We should daydream. Right? Absolutely.
So like, making Edmonton the hub.
That's the dream.
That's the dream.
That's
right?
what some other production companies and EPR, NGF are currently trying to do.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I really want to know who these players are and what are they doing. Could we get like and I know like probably Beamdog and all of them because they understand how Unreal Engines and virtual production works and LCD screens and how could we actually get this on a bigger production, faster production, and really spitting content out there. Yeah, I think the industry is changing. Especially in regards to like public funding, all the grants, ever since COVID, all these, they had all this money to give away for grants and assist people with their projects. And now post COVID, funding is drying out, but there's tons of other people still applying for this. So like the pool of people applying for grants to get is huge. Yeah. But the piece of the pie is getting less and less and less.
Yes.
So what are some other creative ways that we can assist and help each other out? And whether it is a mix of public funding and private funding, and how creative could we get in structuring contracts and dealing with, and I'm not smart enough to understand that.
I wouldn't say you're not smart enough. I just think you're not educated in that thing. Those are two very different things. Gotcha. You're smart enough to understand that. Yeah. You just don't know about it. That's a different thing. Yeah. I just want to challenge your language on that because like.
No, fair enough. And that's good.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. You're smart enough. You're absolutely smart enough. You just don't know about it.
I'm just not educated. I don't know what I don't know. Right.
Exactly.
And so I really want to understand the landscape and how can I be part of the group, whether I'm an advocate or maybe an investor or whatever it is, to help push that vision, the creative vision here locally in Edmonton.
Right.
And what can I do to support that, support others?
This like at the risk of being like overly political, I'll do my best, but like it's really difficult when we do not have a government in this province that supports the arts. Mm-hmm. That's really difficult. And had we had one that was doing that, we would be doing a lot more than we already are. Mm-hmm. And we started to get in that direction with a different government. And then we got slapped in the face, just like most of the industries in our province. So that I think is a big thing about like to be honest, like who we're supporting and what we're thinking about in terms of that. But also like, holding our government accountable and like being a part of those conversations. So if you're like, how do we do that? Talk to ESIO. Mm-hmm. Reach out to CK at ESIO. Like this is just me telling you rather than for this, but like reach out to CK at ESIO. You could talk to him. Why not have him here? He's from ESIO. You could chat with him. Yeah. See what it says. He might be like, oh, I can't do this. Or he might be like, yeah, I can do this. Yeah. So maybe don't include this in the edit, but like talk to him. Yeah. Add him to your list. Say Nikki told me to talk to you. And like just engage more people in the conversation because that's what NGF is trying to do. That's what EPR is trying to do. Like Chase and Wes have been hosting, I think it's like once or twice a year, an industry meetup where it's like anybody in the industry can come. And you can come and like have pizza and there's like prizes and stuff like that. And you can just like engage in it and you can network and you can meet people and be a part of that community in a different way. Even if you're like, I don't really do much stuff. Yeah. There's also like a company called Moving Artistry Justin, I can't remember Justin's last name, but he runs a company in the city called Moving Artistry. He's lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely person. He's a director. More recently was working like doing some cinematography.
Yeah.
But like he's lovely and also a wonderful person to chat to and does like indie stuff. Like there's lots of people that are here. It's just we're not really like, oh, let's all come together. And that's what EPR is trying to do. Edmonton Production Rentals is trying to do is they're trying to host these events to be like, hey, we're crew, we're gear. Who else can we bring?
Yeah.
Right. And it's just really exciting to have a company, not just like they're not a production company, right? They're a company.
Yeah.
That is just like, how can we further this?
Yeah.
Right. Northern Gateway is trying to bring a lot of work here and trying to employ a lot of the cast and crew that are here, in particular the crew, but that are here and going like, hey, how can we support this industry here? How can we bring this industry here?
Yeah.
What could we do? Where could we go? What kind of resources can we gather to do that? Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're always willing to assist. They're always willing to be like, hey, do you want to come and check this out? Do you want to shadow this thing?
Yeah.
You want to work on this thing? Like they're so open for that. But I think a lot of people like yourself get nervous to ask. Because like, what if they say no? Who am I and what do I know? Well, you're still you.
Yeah.
And you have value inherently without anything else on top of that. Without anything else, just you have value. Why are you not good enough to talk to somebody else?
Yeah.
Right? You don't necessarily, and that's, I think, one of the things about networking is the idea that I must have something to offer in order for someone else to find value in me. And it's like, well, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be how it is, but that's what we're taught.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of what happens in the industry when we go, well, yeah, if you don't have anything to offer, don't ask me anything.
The film industry is gradually becoming more inclusive.
Yes.
As a woman in multiple roles in film and in theater and performance.
Yeah.
What progress have you seen and where do you feel there's room to grow?
Oh, there's so much room to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be appreciative of the things that have happened.
Okay.
So like some women get more money now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also like I do love seeing so many more non-white stories fully. I also love seeing the like a lot more normalization of like queer couples without having to be like, oh, this is me and my gay wife. Like you can just be like, this is my wife, or just like casual, non-straight, white, heterosexual, cisgendered stories.
Yeah.
I'm here for all of that. I also love that like streaming platforms are doing a lot more international. You can get access to a lot more international projects, which is great. I still think that there is so much more room to grow. I also think it's really important that I saw this in the theater industry during like #MeToo.
Yeah.
And not just in terms of like women in power, but also like non-white people in power being like, oh yeah, hey, we're going to make our thing 35, 50 or whatever, where it's like 35% of our board or whatever will be made up of non-white individuals or non-straight individuals, or you know what I mean? Because it's hard to be like BIPOC because it's like that doesn't encompass it enough to just say that. Or just like straight. It's like this, just we're not encompassing enough. We don't have enough terms to encompass all people. So just like not diverse enough. And there was a thing that I saw happen in the film and theater community, and I think a lot of us saw it, but nobody really wanted to talk about it, was people were given opportunities and like, here, let's put these people in positions of power, but they didn't have enough experience or knowledge to be in those positions. Yeah. And then they wouldn't be able to flourish because they were playing catch up so much. And those individuals needed more support and needed more education in those positions so that they could flourish. And then it was almost like, oh, wow, they're in those positions and now they didn't do a good job. And it was like, well, see, that's why. And it's like, no, that's not why. That's wrong. Yeah. You know? So it was
almost like setting them up to fail.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. And I don't think that was necessarily the intention by the majority of people, but in some, and not in all cases, and in some cases, That is what happened.
Yeah.
And that's not acceptable. And so I think not just opportunities of position of power, but also educational opportunities need to be more inclusive. Now, mentorships, right? Like even like doing like co-associate positions to then hand that position off when that person feels like capable. So like there has been movement and that is good. I am worried about the repercussions of those things continuing to move with the current political climate. Yeah. At least in a direction that will appropriately represent everyone else, which is actually the majority of the population if you think about it in the entire world. Yeah. Caucasian people are like that much. Like straight white heterosexual people are like that much of the entire population in the whole world. Yeah. So like I don't know if that answers the question. So like, yay. Also, let's keep working so much more.
How important is it for you to bring diverse stories and perspectives into your own work? And both as an actor and as a director?
I think that's an interesting question because I think as a white person, I don't think I should be the one telling the story. Because there's so many other people that could tell that story better than me. And it's their story, not mine. Yeah. If someone like approached me and was like, hey, this is a story that I want to tell, and it's about someone who is not me at all, I'd be like, why me? Not because I don't want to be involved with that project, but I want to make sure that that project is going to succeed in the best possible way. And if they were like convinced that I was the person to do it, then I'd be like, yeah, let's do this. But it would have to be on the terms of that individual or those individuals that like would make them feel the most heard. Yeah. Because I don't think it's necessarily my place to tell those stories. Yeah. Though I would love to be a part of helping those stories come to life in whatever way that I can.
Gotcha.
Does that answer that?
Oh yeah, totally. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Do you feel Edmonton's film scene is evolving? What changes or resources would you like to see for local actors and filmmakers?
Okay. Yes, I think it's evolving. I think it's moving and I'm very excited about it. I think there's lots to go, but there always will be. Yeah. I think that's just kind of generally. Tools or resources. One of the reasons we started Actors Toolbox was to try to provide a resource that was like rather than like a workshop or like a short class, it's a semester. So the class is 12 weeks long. And it's once a week for 12 weeks. And we're bringing in different resources. So it's not just me as an instructor. You also have like guest directors. You also have people like Mike coming in, right? Guest professors. Yeah. We also have different directors or like camera operators or like different crew members or like the option to go on set and see things. I think like Edmonton Production Rentals is doing a really great job of trying to just like support as much as they can any filmmaker from like any experience level, which I think is great. There's lots of production companies in the city. NGF is a great one that are really just trying to be like, hey, what do you got? What do you want to do? Let's make some stuff. And they're really there for resources. Like they're really there as resources, but I think people get scared to talk to each other. Because like we said, I'm scared that people are going to say no. Yeah. Be really great if, there was more funding available, which I think is the thing to always say. But like the arts are always seen as the first thing to go. You know what I mean?
First thing to cut.
Yeah, first thing to cut. Let's cut the arts. Let's cut the arts. We don't need the arts. When it's like, when everything shut down for COVID, who did everyone turn to? Yeah. Artists. Yeah. And they've just lapped up the music and the books and the games and the stories and the movies and the TV and the plays that were online and anything they could and the comedy, and they just like devoured it. And then we went, hey, we need help. They went, you leeches. Yeah. And I was like, what a thing to say to the people that you leaned on to keep your sanity for such a long period of time. What a thing to say. Yeah. And that was really shocking to me. So I would say external support from like just individuals. Yeah. And we're all struggling right now. Like most industries are struggling right now. which is rough. And there are massive corporations that have so much money that we just keep handing money to, that we're just like, oh, but it's convenient. I'm guilty of it myself fully. And being like, oh, but it's so convenient. And it's just like, these are the people that are really taking it from us though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, it would be great if we could all work together. So I guess in the bigger scheme, but on the smaller scheme, things that are already happening, like there's meetups. Like there are like Edmonton screen industry offices are trying to, I think that's what it's called, right? ESIO.
Yeah.
They're trying to do more like meetups, which is great. So for like young and old, and Edmonton Arts Council is also trying to do workshops and stuff like that. And to also for people who are wanting to do like grants, there is resources available at Edmonton Arts Council where you can actually like call people and be like, hey, I need help with my grant, and they'll help you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fully. And like you said, there's like we talked about earlier, but there's so many more people applying for grants and there's so much less funding. So it would be great if we had more support.
Yeah.
But you know, education needs support, healthcare needs support, you know, unhoused individuals need support, lots of things need support, like mental health supports, so many things. But like art is such a important thing, and art is what allows society to flourish and allows societies to grow for creative thinking.
Yeah.
Right? That's when new ideas come and problems get solved.
Well, Nikki, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. It was such a great conversation, very deep, and we covered a wide array of topics.
Yeah, we did.
Especially, you know, in regards to like personal development and self awareness.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we don't really talk enough about. And I'm glad we really got a chance to sit down and we just scratched the surface.
Cool. I'm so glad that ADHD was a bonus today. Yeah,
Awesome.
good. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this. It was lovely to meet you both.
And that brings us to an end of another episode of Frame by Frame Voices of Cinema. Until next time, keep creating, keep listening, and keep watching. This has been Frame by Frame Voices of Cinema. See you guys in the next episode.